What if I told you that the Church of England banned Christmas in 1647? Well, you can't spell Santa without Satan. So, is Santa Claus really Satan, the devil in disguise? Think about it. Do you really believe people just made up a story about a 350-pound man stuffing himself down your chimney? No. The World Book Encyclopedia admits that this concept originated from the Norse legend of Hertha, a so-called goddess who would appear in fireplaces to bring good luck to the home. A devilish spirit could easily pass through a chimney in a fireplace, right? And it doesn't stop there. Druid homeowners would leave treats, milk, and pastries to appease this god who came down their chimneys. Sound familiar? That's right, it's all about worship. Even today, many religions leave milk and food in front of their idols. Now let's talk about stockings, leaving them out for Santa. This tradition is eerily similar to witchcraft practices, where socks or personal items are used in spells to target the victim. Just like how, as kids, we're told to leave teeth out for the tooth fairy. It's the same trap. So, yes, Santa will leave you some great gifts in your stockings, for sure. Oh, and here's the kicker. The word Santa is a true anagram of Satan. Yet many people believe Santa Claus is based on a priest named Saint Nicholas. But guess what? That priest never even existed. The Second Vatican Council in the 1970s openly admitted it was all a fabrication. And don't forget, people used to call the devil Old Nick. They're rubbing it right in your face. Some speculate this nickname comes from German and Scandinavian words, starting with Nick, which were used for dangerous supernatural creatures. So, who's really coming down your chimney this Christmas? Follow my backup account and leave a comment for part 2 because there's more to this than meets the eye. I'm gonna go ahead and say this is just a joke for entertainment purposes. What if I told you that Christmas was banned in 1647 by the Church of England, and there's a good reason why? We already know about the anagram of Santa as Satan, the origins of a demonic spirit passing down your chimney, how leaving milk and cookies for Santa is an act of ritualistic worship, and the witchcraft links to stockings. Now let's dive deeper. Horus, Nimrod, Odin, Bacchus, and many more, and their respective festivals like Saturnalia and Bacchanalia are just repackaged versions of each other. It all boils down to the same thing, the winter solstice, the rebirth of the sun, and the worship of nature. And what activities are at the center of these festivals? Materialism, gluttony, and drinking. Sound familiar? It's said that every year at Yule, on December 25th, Odin held a great hunting party. Hunting for what exactly? I'm sure you can guess what the sack is for too. Is this why Santa is so concerned with who's naughty and who's nice? Odin traveled the world on a white horse with 8 legs. Santa, of course, originally had 8 reindeer. Coincidence? And what about Santa's dark demon helper? Every version of Klaus across history depicts a sinister companion. These beings, known as Krampus, were transformed into modern elves for a sanitized version of the story, but Saint Nicholas and his demonic companions are still celebrated in many countries to this day, roaming the streets and scaring children. Look it up. Some people know very well that Santa Claus doesn't hang out with reindeer or elves. He hangs out with demons. And the song Jingle Bells, those are Krampus bells, famous for announcing their arrival as they moved from town to town. And if you didn't have your offerings ready, well, you know what would happen. Or so they say. Even Santa's trademark ho 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 laugh isn't as innocent as it seems. It's stolen from another depiction of the devil, a figure named Robin. In medieval theater plays from the 1400s, the devil would announce himself before walking on stage with this exact laugh. That's right, my friends. Nothing's a coincidence. Follow my backup account and leave a comment for part 3, because there's even more to uncover. I'm gonna go ahead and say this is just a joke for entertainment purposes. What if I told you kids are scared of Santa for good reason? Think about it. Children instinctively fear this strange man who watches them year-round, sneaks into their homes, and decides if they're good or bad. Deep down, kids know this was never about gifts. Santa is Satan in disguise, and he's always been looking for the ones on his so-called naughty list. And once you're on that list, you know what happens next. Now let's talk about the Christmas tree. You think it's harmless? Think again. The fir tree has been tied to sun gods and ancient deities for centuries. Why? Because it's evergreen. It defies nature, staying alive through the harshest of winters. To ancient cultures, that made it powerful, almost otherworldly, as if it were spared by the sun gods. In honor of these deities, people would bring these trees into their homes as symbols of worship and fertility. They'd decorate them, sometimes with gold and silver. And those ornaments? Let's just say you don't want to know what the baubles truly represented in those rituals. And what about singing songs around the tree, leaving offerings beneath it? Sound familiar? It's exactly how idols were worshipped in those traditions, except now they've got you doing it and passing it off as innocent holiday cheer. No, Coca-Cola didn't create Santa. In the 1930s, Coca-Cola simply rebranded Santa Claus for the modern Western audience, dressing him in bright red, the color of their brand, and coincidentally, Satan. They gave him a jolly, harmless vibe that erased the darker truths lurking in the shadows of his legend. It wasn't just a marketing strategy, it was the final touch to disguise the sinister origins of this holiday icon. And yeah, the oldest images of Santa definitely had him carrying a large sack, but it wasn't full of presents, that's for sure. So the next time you whip out those cute decorations and pile presents around the Christmas tree, ask yourself this: are you just having some innocent fun, or are you taking part in a ritual that will please the devil for years to come? Follow my backup account and comment below for part 4, because we're just getting started. I'm going to go ahead and say this is just a joke for entertainment purposes.